the recording option on. Okay, well, we'll start with you, Ross. You're our focal point here right now. First and foremost, congratulations on your new ride with Trackhouse Racing. Walk us through the emotions and excitement you have as you look towards the 2022 season with your new team.
Yes, sir. Yeah, excitement is always the name of the day with an announcement like this, but it's more than just excitement for another team. I've been now crazy enough in this sport for 10 years and didn't know what I was getting into 10 years ago. But what's so crazy is that the first race I ever ran, I bought a seat and drove the next race after Justin had raced that truck, the same truck, number 66 truck for Stacy Compton, and had no idea how full circle this all could come. But went back to him and bought more seats and made that connection. And it's more than just another team. I've been with a lot now, and I've been fired and I've left teams and I've done a lot of things and I could do a lot of things better, but to bring it full circle with somebody that I've known my entire time in the sport and do it with a group that it just truly, I mean this when I say it, it truly feels like it's more than just another team. And I think that's what made this process of getting me in this car so much easier for both sides.
Thank you, Ross. We'll switch over to Justin real quick, and then we'll do our round robin questions.
Well, first of all, happy Watermelon Day, everybody. Yeah, no, this is a great moment, another great moment in the short history so far of Trackhouse Racing. As Ross mentioned, I've known him for a long time, and when he first came on the scene, knocking on our front door with a couple $20 bills to buy a used race seat from me, and for us both, not just him, but for us both to be at this point right now with the way our career trajectories have gone since that, 10 years ago or so is pretty amazing. Trackhouse, we're trying to build something real special for the future. And that means, recognizing talent that sort of is at an important point in the career where they've got experience, but they're young and they're still building their career. And that's what we feel like we have with Daniel. And now for sure we have with Ross. I mean, Ross has got a number of cup starts under his belt. Just like Daniel, Ross is one of those guys where when he's been sitting in race winning equipment, he's gotten the job done. And that is a talent and a skill that is independent of just how fast you can go. There's a lot of guys in this sport that have sat in real fast stuff and not figured out how to close. We've got 2 winners on this race team now, 2 closers on this race team. I've got a lot of respect for Ross. He's important to Chevrolet. We've got a lot of partners that are excited about working with him that we're closing for 2022 right now. And it's a great day. I think it was a great choice for our company. We've got somebody that can be a part of this company for a long time. I'm excited to offer Ross what I think is probably his first multi-year contract in his career in NASCAR. And it's a way for us to show that we're committed to him. We're building this team around him, and I'm excited for the future. So welcome, Ross.
Thank you, Justin. All right, we'll start with the media questions, and I see some hands raised, and we'll kind of start from the top down. We'll go with Casey Campbell first.
Thanks, Sam. I got one for Ross, one for Justin. First off, congrats to you, Ross.
Yeah. Yes. Thanks, man.
So what were the conversations like? And Justin can answer this too, but overall, when this all kind of started, what were those initial conversations like with Justin? Did you know that you were going to be, coming here? When did you know that this was going to happen?
Yeah, well, from my side, when the acquisition happened, I told Justin, I just texted him and said, I want this. It was just a simple, I just didn't ask anybody, didn't confer with anybody. I knew Justin on that level and I wanted it. And so from there was a lot of moving pieces, and that's the business side that I'm not involved in, but you do, this is a big organization now. This is a large part of Chevrolet. And so working through a lot of that stuff in my tenure now with Chevrolet, of really from my career changing the trajectory that it was on, it's went a lot of different ways over the years. And I've been very blessed to find a home with Chevrolet. So that was important to me, and the relationships that I have there, both internally here in this race shop, but also across the broader, bow tie family of race teams I've driven for, is where I've made the most relationships. So yeah, it took a little bit of working through the process, but I think I know for myself, and I think I can speak for Justin, that we wanted it, and whether or not it all worked out, we had to work through the all the other stuff, but fundamentally down at the core of it, I knew that this is where I wanted to be.
And Justin, for you, what do you see in Ross as a driver?
Well, I mean, he's got a lot of fight and a lot of want in him. And I tell people this, when there's some real nuance when you're looking at drivers and you're trying to determine what skill set they've got and what kind of potential they have. And to me, it's, I'm a huge fan of people that have had to work hard against adversity and against odds to try to get where they have gotten in their careers. And I think that it's that fight in those years of working hard towards something when, it's very difficult along the way, that pays dividends at the cup level, especially late in races at the cup level when you're sitting in good equipment. I mean, sometimes you see these guys that do on green, white checkers and have to hold off the field and for their first win, which is one of the most difficult things to do in all of racing. But it's more than just those 2 laps. I mean, that driver has to dig down into everything he's fought for 20 years of racing in that moment to deliver. And Ross has that personality profile. He's delivered, like I said earlier. You want somebody who knows how to win, and winning is a talent that's independent of how fast you can go over a couple laps, how well you can qualify, what your feedback is like. There's a talent to winning, and it's so hard to win in the Cup Series. And it's now in the sort of the playoff era, you want guys that if you build a company around them, put cars underneath them, and people behind them to give them the opportunity to win, that they're going to go and do that job. And Ross and Daniel have both proven that when they've been in those situations, they can deliver, and the rest we can build around them.
All right. Thanks, Justin. Congrats, Ross. And thanks, Sam.
Yes, sir. All right. Next, we'll go to Bob Pockras. Got a question?
Yeah, first for Ross, when you told me that after you first talked to Justin that you felt pretty good, I'm curious, did you have good feelings every day since then, or was it a roller coaster ride until signing this deal?
Well, I think anybody that's ever spoken to Justin Marks feels good when you get done, and especially knowing him from those early days for me was excitement. But I mean, to be honest, it was him stepping out of the truck, and he was great, and he gave me advice, and he talked like we talked, because he was the most relevant thing I had to talk to of somebody in with that same race team. And so no matter what the conversation is, over the years, he's had hearts with me about crashing and overdriving and road courses and breaking transmissions and cooking my brakes. And I never left those feeling, degraded or beat down. Okay, I have a new mentality on this and a new thought process. And so it was the same way with this. There were no bad days. I felt good about it all along. I probably was a little naive to maybe all the inner workings of what all goes into this, because this is so over my head. I truly just focus on race cars, and then I know when it's National Watermelon Day, and it's Watermelon Day every day in my life, Bob. So it was good times, good talks.
And for Justin, why the 1? Did you consider the 42? And also, where are you at as far as crew chief and crew for Ross for next year?
Yeah, it's a good question, and it's in some ways it's really, really important, because it's kind of what people talk about and what they're curious about, hence the question. But in some ways, you're also focused on things that make race cars go fast too. But for us, you know, it's always been important from day one at Trackhouse to build a real racing brand that's bigger than any one person, bigger than any one person's sort of history, you know, with the manufacturer, with the number or anything like that. Ross and I have both won in the 42. That's not lost on me. The 42's got a great, you know, lineage in this sport. But you know, we just really love the idea of having the 99 and the 1, of having the highest number and the lowest number, and you know, the sort of the opportunities to brand a company around that, and the uniqueness of that. And so that was exciting for us. I always loved the number 1. It's got a history, and it kind of, you know, we can start a new era with that number, and you know, put the Trackhouse brand behind it, and Ross can grow with it. So that, you know, really kind of just was a business decision. As far as other people, I mean, we're working through that process right now. It's hard to do all these things at once. You have to really kind of plan out your cadence and how you know, onboard certain elements of the company and how you build the company. And that's a methodical thing that happens over time. For us right now, the most important thing was getting Ross committed to Trackhouse, and Trackhouse committed to Ross, and going through the process where, you know, we can build a future together. Now that that's over with, we'll start building that team around Ross. But I will tell you, you know, that, you know, that 42 team is running well right now. And the last thing I want to do is, you know, try to break up any kind of momentum or break up a good thing. But, you know, that's a process we have to go through over the next couple of months, while being as, you know, as little of a distraction as possible to that 42 team, because they're in a position here to get into the playoffs. So that's where our work will remain over the next couple of weeks.
Okay. Moving down the list, we'll go next to Michael Shelton.
Thank you very much. Well, first, Ross, congratulations to you. And I know we're here to talk about next season, but I just want to turn to this season for a second. You got the next 2 races are on road courses. You got obviously the Glen this weekend, Indianapolis the following weekend, and you've performed well on the road courses as of late. 4th at Circuit of the Americas, 7th at Sonoma, and 7th at Road America. So with these next 2 road courses upcoming, how confident are you that you could possibly steal a win at one of them and get into the playoffs for this year?
Confident. Absolutely. The race cars that we're putting out here at Chip Ganassi Racing with the 1 and the 42, Kurt and the 1 team proved it at Atlanta. They can go dominate and win. And we were off that day. And there's other times where we're going to be on, and going and winning is priority. You know, no matter when or what or how or where, it's just about winning. So we're putting the parts and pieces on the track, and then it's up to me to go execute. I don't know where the road course speed on my side has truly come from, other than repetition and work and a lot of studying and a lot of talking to Justin. But Josh Wise, Scott Speed have been incredibly helpful, and I think you see that across our group of drivers that are working with those guys. It's just a different mentality for me than I ever knew. I did not grow up road course racing, so this was something I learned in the sport of NASCAR and the Truck Series, and then Xfinity, really kind of off the radar of a lot of people and behind the scenes. And so I had a lot of reps before I got here to this 42 team, and then the race cars they're adaptable. So I can overshoot a corner, I can under brake, and I can still get across to the apex, and I can still get the power down, and I can squirt the gas a little too early, and I can still recover, or too late and recover. So the race cars are adaptable and raceable. And you know, from there, I just go try to keep it on track most of the time.
And a quick question for Justin. Obviously, next season, we're going to have the next-gen car coming in. And with more and more testing being held and more information on the chassis coming in, where would you say that your organization is at right now as far as preparation for the implementation of the next-gen car next year?
Yeah, I'm happy with where we're at. I mean, I think that our progress so far is consistent with most everybody else in the series. What's nice with us is that, you know, with our relationship with RCR, they've been instrumental in the development of this next gen car. The car's been in the shop all year long, so we've had an opportunity to, you know, as a Trackhouse group, really sort of familiarize ourselves with how that car is built. And there's times when I'm in the shop and Travis and I, you know, just look at the car and try to think about ways that, you know, we have to do quick repairs at the racetrack. How are we going to change an engine? How are we going to prepare the thing, you know, for a swing of West Coast races and all that. So I like where we're at because we're constantly thinking about it. as far as the delivery of parts and pieces and chassis, I mean, we're at this just about the same level as everybody else. What's nice is obviously we're going to be able to have a car ready with Daniel to test in October for the first organizational test, and then we're going to have a car to be able to test with Ross. So we're in a really great spot between CGR and Trackhouse Racing to get a lot of development in the off season done on this car and get to Daytona ready to go. So yeah, I'm happy with it. We made a commitment from day one. As soon as those ordering banks opened, we started putting in orders for parts and everything because we didn't want to be behind anybody else in this sport. And so I'm happy with where we're at.
Thank you, gentlemen. Congratulations again.
Thanks.
Thank you. All right, we'll go next to Jordan Bianchi.
Hey guys, I have a question for each of you. We'll start with Justin. Justin, you said this is a multi-year deal for Russ, so he's in the car for 2023.
He is, yeah, and that was one of the things that we, that I was really happy to do with and for Ross, because as I mentioned at the top of the call, Ross has not been in a position where he's had a ton of job security in his life, where he's had a team come and say, you're a big part of our future, and we want to build around you. And Ross has got 15 years of competitive cup racing ahead of him in his career. And we want to be the ones to step up and tell him. And this is what I told him on the phone when I called him and said, this ride is yours if you want it. The fact that, we are building this team around you. And that means orchestrating our workforce around Ross, about supporting him and giving him all the tools that he needs to be successful in the Cup Series and to win races and to put these Trackhouse cars in the playoffs. And I think, having some job security and being able to put a contract in front of him that's a multi-year contract is going to let him exhale a little bit after fighting for his life for 10 years and say, this is my home and I'm ready to get to work. And that was an important part for Trackhouse.
And this is my follow-up to Ross then. Ross, this is the first time you've had a multi-year deal at the NASCAR's national level. What does that feel like?
Indescribable, Jordan. It is a relief. But it really it's been since we knew this was going to happen pretty short time ago. It hasn't, maybe it changes now that it's public and we know, but everybody knows. But it's just been like, okay, now, yes, I take a breath, but I can't change how I do things. This is what got me here. I just don't have to go take everything. I don't have to take, and so. That's what I've been trying to work on this year, is just a different mentality on my racecraft and what goes through my head, both pre-race, but also during the race. So, when Justin said that, when we were talking, it was, it's really indescribable what that means. I really have even struggled to tell Justin what it means to me that he would not only say that and say, yeah, we're going to be together a long time, but to truly put it down and put it on paper. So that means the world.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jordan. Next, we'll go to Heather Williams.
Sorry, I couldn't get that unmuted. My apologies. So Ross, I'm just curious for you, as you've kind of gone through this journey, and you mentioned replacing Justin in the car a long time ago. Did you see the success that you found this year and getting to this point? I mean, I know you worked really hard for all of this, but has this road kind of gone the way that you thought it would in NASCAR?
Absolutely not. No, not at all. No, I signed up for one race in 2011 and then 4 more. And then that was going to be it. And then it was a full season with Bobby Dotter. And then that was going to be it. And then it was driving Brad's truck for BKR part-time. And then it just kept going. And then really starting 2015, when I got down with Johnny Davis and Gary Keller, that's where I thought I would be. I was like, I'm going to be this guy. I found my spot. I'm going to maybe get some cup races one day. I'll keep running truck, and I'll just keep shuffling the cards and see what comes out. And that all changed partway through 2018. And so I think that's realizing that in 2015 and really having my mind fully wrapped around buying in on that and just making my situations the best they could be, but that I would never be in that top tier, or have that opportunity, was when that changed. It's like, okay, like, how did that happen? This is great, but I never expected it. Just like, I mean, I did not grow up expecting to be a race car driver, and I didn't race as a kid at 12 years old until I was 18. Those years, I never raced with plans of NASCAR. So that made all those nights at 417 and Orlando Speed World and New Smyrna Speedway, it made all those nights with my family racing just fun. Yeah, we were mad if we wrecked, we were mad if we blew a tire, or I crashed somebody or got crashed, but there was no pressure of like, oh, we got to send out a tweet, we got to have our Facebook post. It was just like racing. And that's what this time now, once my career trajectory changed in 2018, kind of what went back to, not to sound naive to the platform we have, but initially, especially the first few years up until recently, it's just been like, wow, we're just living this dream. And now I've realized that I have a platform, and my purpose in all this, I don't believe, is just to race. I have a larger purpose to all this, and I'm still figuring that out and how I can best use my platform. But my platform of racing is not my purpose. So I'm still trying to wrap my head around what all that means. But we have a lot ahead of us, and just excited to get to work.
Thanks. Congrats.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Heather. Next, we'll go to Daniel McFadden.
I have one question for each. Justin, can you tell us like what conversations have been like maybe for Trackhouse with Chip Ganassi Racing's like current sponsor lineup about potentially making the transition over to you guys next year, if at all?
Yeah, there's been some great dialogue. I mean, that was an important element of the acquisition, obviously, to try to make sure we get an audience with all those partners and tell them our story and what we're trying to build and the assets that we have to contribute to the marketing platform. And we've got a lot of great conversations. I think you're going to see some of those companies stay. We've also got, we've got some great companies that we're sort of on the 99-yard line with right now, that are going to join our organization that haven't been involved in the sport yet, that have been paying attention to Ross and to CGR and the acquisition and everything. So I think we're in a great spot. I mean, there's a lot of great partners at CGR, and there's a lot of partners that are big fans of Ross. So we're going through that process right now, and I'm pretty confident on it. I don't think that we are going to have one unsold race next year. I feel very confident on that. So it's just a matter of telling a great story and getting great people and just doing the work. So I like where we're at.
Thanks. For Ross, you've kind of had an interesting 48 hours. We're talking about your new ride for next year, but you also had a little bit of a snafu on the truck series side. So just what can you just walk us through what happened there for you on the truck side?
Yeah, well, my hand is tired from all my my chalkboard writing I had to do for my detention there. Yeah, it's unfortunate. I pride myself on my knowledge of the sport and being turned on to how the sport operates and what the rules are and what they mean and what they're there for. And I just, as a group, we just missed it on this one. We've had this plan to run Watkins Glen all year. We picked out 5 races. You've seen me in 4 of those, with high priority on preparing for Cup races, and Al Neese and Cody Efall and that group obviously means a lot to me. Y'all have seen even resetting it after 2018 and resetting and rebounding in 2019 was a big reason why I got this opportunity at CGR in the 42 car, was how we handled that adversity. And we didn't just go, kind of just hide. We went out and we tried to win races, and we did win 4 races in the truck series. So this one was, I knew the rule, and I knew the 3-year Cup points driver rule, and I knew the postseason and the regular season finale rule. I just thought one was over the other, and I thought I fit under that. I mean, basically what it was, I thought I fit under the 3-year of points, Cup points acquiring driver, and it just, there's another rule right above it. It's clear as could be when you look at it. I just misunderstood it, and everybody else just went with me on it. And so I take full responsibility, but we're we're gonna have some really cool stuff coming out of that, and really cool opportunities. We'll announce when we're ready. So it's been a whirlwind couple of days trying to navigate that with everybody. But Out East, gives us full support of it, and the Buckle Up, Protect Your Melon New York, our New York Safe Driving campaign. That truck will be on track on Saturday, and I can't wait to announce that.
Thanks, Ross.
Thank you. Guys, I know we're running really short on time, so unfortunately, I'm only going to have time for one more question. I'm going to go to Dustin Long, and then we'll end this session.
Thank you. Hey, Ross, just on a different subject. Obviously, there's been a lot of discussion in sports for a little bit of time, but certainly recently on athletes and mental health. As somebody you've talked about the ups and downs that you've gone, and certainly a lot of those have been documented about the ups and downs. Maybe we haven't seen, we've seen some of the high points. Maybe we haven't even seen all the low points. How as an athlete have you managed through that, and how do you still do that now that you're on an even bigger stage with more pressure and more expectation and more eyeballs on you?
Yes, sir. Yeah, it's you definitely have not seen all the low points, and that's not something that I think as people we could ever knowingly go and share. But my biggest thing that has helped me is surrounding myself with people that I can truly talk to, and I truly believe that they have my best interests at heart, and that starts with my family, my dad and my mom, and I've got uncles and aunts and cousins that I talk to weekly, if not daily, and they don't know anything about racing, most of them, but we compare it to the farm and we compare how we handle stuff there. And then in the racing, that's where it gets scary, because it's so hard to truly trust anybody in this sport. And I mean that. And I know that people struggle to trust me, but I have a group that I can trust. And when that clicked, when I realized that, I can call these couple of people anytime and truly tell them what's going on, and not have to worry about, because now with social media, you just don't know, and you just don't know how something can spiral. And truly knowing that they're going to do what's best for me, and they're going to help talk me through that, even as simple as talking about this opportunity with Justin and Trackhouse, talking through it and truly looking at it from all sides, and knowing that we want the best for my career. And yes, I think that's the biggest thing for me, is truly having those people in the sport, as well as the people in Florida in the watermelon industry, but truly having the people that are working in this sport day in and day out on other projects. They're not just at CGR or Trackhouse or Spire, like they're doing a lot of things, but truly having those couple of guys and girls that I can just call any time of day or night and just lay it out there. And I think talking about it a lot of times helps. Well, I know it helps me, and I think it would help a lot of people if they just had that outlet to talk about it. It's just a phone call, it's a text, it's going to dinner or having dinner at their house where it's private, and truly talking about the true, dirty details of whatever's going on, and figure it out. And so I don't wish that those bad feelings or those uneasy feelings on anybody, but you have to have that person or those people that you can call or talk to and truly trust, and just lay it out there and be honest and open, because you cannot handle it all on your own. And I figured that out, fortunately, before it was too late.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, everybody. We're going to be providing a transcript of this teleconference here shortly this afternoon, and there'll be a recording that we're going to submit to NASCAR. So thank you guys for participating, and hey, we ran out of time here. If you have anything else, you can follow up through us or through Drew Brown. Thank you again.
Thank you.